Today's going to be a little different than a normal video. There's no getting ready with me. I have promised you some stories. And I was talking with my friend and she's like, where are these stories going to come? And I was like, oh, you know what? I'll start with my first story, which is about my lash line that I created during COVID, my COVID project, if you will. There's a lot to learn about it, a lot I learned in the process. So if you want to hear all about my making of my own lash line, stay tuned. It all started many moons ago with a baby Shay. I can remember being in love with lashes since I was a little girl. And not even like the cute, like funny haha kind of in love with lashes. Like I used to get, not beatings, we called them beatings, but really they were just spankings. I used to get in a lot of trouble because my mom and I were very adamant about not wearing any kind of makeup until we were, I think 16 was the rule. Joke's on you, I wore her down, but I can remember being, we were in Germany in the time, so I was probably in like 8 or 9, 10, and I would steal her makeup. She had this clear brow gel, but I just knew that it was mascara. That's all I knew it was. So I didn't know it was for brows at the time. So I would steal that. I would put it on my lashes, and I just thought I was the shit. I thought I was just a baddie back in the day, running around, little chubby girl with clear lashes. I thought I was doing something. The moral of that story is I've always been in love with lashes. So, I mean, the lash queen is me. I grew up still loving lashes, and then I became a professional makeup artist, which is funny fun fact. I didn't even know how to put lashes on when I was a professional makeup artist on myself. I didn't start putting lashes on until I was like 24, and I was working at MAC at the time. I worked for other companies, I promise, but MAC just really was my stepping stone of my career. And one of the girls pulled me aside and she's like, girl, you know, we should wear lashes because we sell them and you need to be able to sell them and people want to see them on you. So I was like, well, I don't know how to fucking put lashes on. I love them and I could put them on other people. I could just never put them on myself. And she's like, then you need to learn. Okay, you only have to tell me once that I'm fucking up and I will make sure it's corrected. So I went home and I had bought a bunch of lashes and I just practiced and I did different glues. And at the time they had just the regular duo, right? So I was just like, whatever. Then I learned, you have to let it dry, all the things that you have to learn about lashes. But I finally got it down. And then after that, it was fucking unstoppable when it came to lashes. I became to love them so much that I felt very insecure without them. Like I felt naked without them, which is not right. But that's how obsessed I was with them. And then in my career, I went on to learn how to do professional lashes, where I learned how to do lash extensions. And I never liked wearing lash extensions because I'm a picker and I just don't like, again, just like wigs and hair extensions, I don't like that feeling of something that either I can't remove, if not, I'll pick and it'll just drive me crazy. It's a tick I have. It's part of my ADHD, I think. Either way, I just don't like the feeling. So I never wore lash extensions. So I just continued, even as a lash artist only, I would still wear extensions. And so, strips. So fast forward to COVID, and I had always deep down in my life wanted to start my own like makeup brand / either just lashes or makeup. I didn't know where I wanted to go with that. And when I was in aesthetic school, we learned all about that and how you can make your own lash lines or make your own, cosmetic lines, and the private labeling things that went on. And then COVID hit and I was at home doing, nothing with our lives. And I thought, well, I don't want this time to go by wasted. I really think maybe now's the time that I start a lash line. And honestly, too, I was kind of inspired by a lot of the people online that were starting their own, home businesses. And I was like, well, I want to do that because when this thing ever lifts, I don't want to go back to work for anybody. I don't want to go back to work for the man. So I was like, I think I'm going to start my own lash line. And God bless my husband, by the way. If I told him I wanted to be a squirrel next week, he would go out and buy me the damn costume and just say, make the best of it, Shay, I believe in you. So he just kind of lets me be who I am. And when I said I wanted to start a lash line, he was like, what do we got to do? And so I literally day and night started researching, started doing all the work that I needed to do to create my own lash line. Canva was barely like big back then. So I learned how to, get on Canva. I learned all about the creative process through that. So I made my own logo. And trust me, this did not go, it wasn't like I just like, oh, I think this. No, I have a best friend, Mickey, who, love you, girl. I, day and night, would send her names, design ideas, thoughts about this, thoughts about that. She's always kind of been like my co-business partner, like the ghost co-partner, like my ghost business partner. But I mean, I must have sent her at least 30 or 40 different names that I was thinking about, things that were relative to me, things that made sense in my life. I didn't just want it to be like a fluffy Lash name or whatever. Like I wanted it to make sense. I've kind of always been very obsessed with diamonds, not in a way that I'm like Mrs. Chancellor and I need to just, you know, sit back and let you cater to me with diamonds. But I ended up going with Diamond Lash. And so I immediately was like, okay, I started contacting, you know, vendors, because the only place you can purchase bulk in lashes is China or Korea or like in the Asian countries. Excuse me. So I was very naive and I was like, please, you know, you can order samples. So I started having different companies send me samples. However, it was during COVID. So not only was everybody terrified to get anything from China, which, you know, broke my heart, but I was like, well, I'm not afraid of what's going to come. Like, you know, I just want to make sure they're good quality. I didn't care about anything else other than I just don't want them to have the thick black band. And so I wanted a clear band. I was very clear on the vision that I wanted for my lash line. So I had them send samples, but it took forever to get them because it was COVID. And not a lot of people were working at the speed that they are nowadays. And so I was like, dang it, these are taking forever. And then when I got them, so I had to order the boxes too. I designed the boxes because I was like, I want them to have a diamond. I want them to be the iridescent color, because I love gray and I love that iridescent color. So I came up with this design, the box design, and I wanted it to be easy. But as you can see, the iridescent in there, and you can see the logo on the thing, but it's not that legible. But I kind of wanted it that way. I didn't want the name to be like, wow. I wanted it to be subtle. And the lashes were really just, you know, they have the little diamond on the end. I thought those were so cute. But that's the lash line that I created. And I don't know if you can notice though, but the little logo has a diamond over the O, because it looks like a ring, a diamond ring. Aha. I had a blast designing these, and then I started naming them, you know, and it was just a lot of fun. However, and I think I created my first launch was, I think 6 or 8 different styles. And when I got them in, they weren't exactly what I wanted, but I had already promised a launch. So, which was business 101 not to do. So I was like, well, I got to start getting these lashes out there and I'll just learn and as I grow, which I don't recommend. I recommend you do it kind of all the right way in the beginning and then learn as you grow. But me, I was just like, I'm just going to jump in head first. If they're not correct, I'll just keep making new lashes and coming out with new launches, and those will get better and better with time. But in order to win your product out the door or win your customer out the door, you really want to come out with a great product. Like, you know, my first launch was really just my family. and they were very dramatic lashes, even though I didn't want them as dramatic. And I ordered a second line of less dramatic, and I was on the innovative edge of the liner that was actually a glue. It looked like a wing or a liquid liner, but it was actually a glue. So I was like one of the first people to actually bring those out, and I wasn't afraid to push that mold. Like, I just try all the new things that lashes entails because I think they're fantastic. I grabbed the magnetic lashes back in that day. This was in 2020, so they weren't that popular yet. So I was not as excited about my lashes that initially launched, but I loved them for the people who love drama. But I really wanted to cater to people who like them subtle and, you know, the half lashes, because I cut mine a lot. So I was just like, you know what, let's go back to the drawing board. And I started, because China operates off of a different time zone than we do. So it's daytime when it's nighttime here, it's nighttime when it's day, you know what I mean? So I would stay up all hours of the night talking to vendors and suppliers and asking for samples. And going through all this, and they're like, oh yeah, mink lashes are the way you gotta go. And they kept trying to push mink lashes on me, but I was like, no, I think I really want faux mink, because I didn't have a full concept and a grasp on where the actual mink came from. But in true Shea fashion, I have to know the why behind everything. Like, I'm constantly wanting to learn the behind the scenes. So when I started to learn about where these lashes were coming from, it fucking devastated me. It broke my heart, because they actually have mink farms over there. Like we have chicken farms here. Like, they murder all these defenseless little mink animals, and they're freaking adorable, to make these lashes, to make these coats, to make, rugs and blankets and all these things. And the details that I was getting online, it crippled me. And I immediately halted everything. I was like, first of all, what in the hell is happening? Like, they're murdering these animals just to make lashes? And I was devastated. So I'm like, let me start researching other avenues I can take, like silk lashes. Found out those come from silkworms, Then they have synthetic lashes. Yes, they have all these synthetic things, but it really just made me question. This is a lot just to be vain, right? Just to have a prettier look. And I didn't think at the time I was strong enough mentally to handle not knowing where my supplies were coming from, and not being able to get over to China just willy-nilly. I stopped making lashes altogether, because I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to do this anymore, because A, I don't think it's right. B, I'm not even sure if the faux ones that I'm ordering are actually faux. You just never know, because there's no actual suppliers here. And they manufacture them over there and ship them here in mass loads, and people can purchase from American companies, warehouses and stuff like that, but they originate overseas. So not knowing the product that I was going to be pushing out, it just didn't sit right with me. And not that I'm hardcore PETA, but I damn near am. I love animals very much so. And I know I'm a hypocrite because I carry leather handbags sometimes. But even now, I still try to go with faux leather. It's just not, I'm not going to be on a picket line anywhere marching, but I also don't want to be part of the problem. So I completely stopped my lash line. And that is not to discourage anybody from doing a lash line, because I still may do a lash line one day. I would love to pick this back up, because I really still do absolutely love lashes, as you can clearly tell. I wasn't down enough for the cause to stop wearing them, so that made me kind of a hypocrite too. But I couldn't imagine producing them in mass quantities and going through all of that until I figured out where they came from, if it was sourced correctly. Can I do this better? Can I bring them over to the United States? I wanted to know all the things. I love lashes. I absolutely may one day start another line, but I don't know if I'll do it on my own. I think if I ever get to the point where I'm like super successful and want to create a lash line again, I'll do it with investors and people who can do the actual laboring part, because when I'm doing it out of my house and having to ship from here and blah, 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 I didn't want all that involved in my house. But at the time in COVID, when I stopped doing it completely, I was like, I'll pick it up again when I can figure this all out. But then, life started lifing, and things just kept happening, and I just never kind of got back to it. But I still have a hell of a ton of these that I go through. And I literally mean, when I have drawers full of lashes, I have drawers full of lashes. So yeah, that's kind of my deal. I know that was like a long drawn out way of going about why I don't have a lash line anymore, and if one day I may have one again. But I just thought I'd talk about it. I'd put it to the forefront, and everybody else is welcome to do their own research. And I'm sure I might get comments saying, well, this isn't true. They actually make lashes safer and all that. Well, please send me that information, because all the research I've done, yes, again, there is synthetic lashes. There's faux mink. There's faux this, faux that. But what is it made out of? Like, I really want to figure that part out. And until I could actually be a part of the process, like go over there, see the factory, see the laborers, Are the workers being treated correctly? Like, I don't want to be a part of any problem just so I can make a dollar. It's just not who I am as a human. I've never been financially driven. A lot of people think that about me, that I'm, she must just love money. And I know, I actually think money is the root of all evil. And so I don't have the best relationship with it, because I don't starve for it. Money is a tool to get us to where we need to eat to survive, but I'm not gonna make sure people are, child laboring, or people are working 30 hours a day, bleeding out of their hands just to create a load of lashes to send over to me so I can make $1 million. It's just not who I am. It's never who I've been. So one day, if I decide to do lashes again, or create my own beauty line, just know that it will be ethically sourced. It will be morally labored. And I'm part of the whole process. Hands-on, not because I'm a control freak, but because I want to make sure that nobody was harmed in the making of my beauty. And I know that there's a lot of dark behind the scenes from what I have on right now. So I'm one of those people that I'm sensitive to the world. I'm sensitive to a lot of things. But don't take my kindness for weakness, because I will get aggressive if I need to. And I stand on business when I need to. And this was one of those moments where I was like, let's pause until I can figure this out, until it makes sense to me, and until I can do this correctly, the way I want to do it, the way I feel in my heart is right. So, but that being said, if there's anybody out there who's thinking about trying their own lash line, or lip gloss line, or makeup line, eyeshadow palettes, hairbrushes, anything, I initially started my search through Alibaba. Alibaba and AliExpress are very different. AliExpress is something that you can buy one of, and they ship it over. It ships from United States too. They have lots of things at a discounted rate. Alibaba is like the manufacturers, the ones that you have to have a minimum quantity. It's called MOQ. So you have to have a minimum quantity of like 100 to even get that certain lash or that makeup brush, or, some are 10. But if you communicate with them, and a lot of them communicate very well, they'll send you samples. You can send them an idea. They'll mock up a label for you, like a logo if you want. Or go on Etsy and design a logo. Have somebody design a logo for you. If you're not creative, Canva has a lot of templates you can do that on. And there's other companies out there like Canva you can do that on. Adobe. Once you get a design idea or a vision in your head, put it on paper. Take that idea and then start figuring out, what are your strengths and weaknesses? What can you do? What can you not do? And then outsource what you cannot do. So I was able to create my own logo because I sat at that computer for hours and learned how to do Canva, and I had all these ideas and I created different ones. And then my co-ghost business partner, I would send her all my thoughts, and she'd be like, this one, not this one, this one, not that one, pink instead of black, white instead of this. And it was magical. Because, my husband careless. He's just like, whatever, babe, as long as you're happy. I don't know about colors or styles. So, that's how I started. I started on Alibaba. I was like, they have examples of different lash cases. And I was like, let's take that, but I want that. And they'll do it for you. Like, they really want to work with you. They're, really want your business. They're really graceful to work with. And some of them, there might be a language barrier. And if that one doesn't feel right for you, there's a million other in line trying to work for you and win your business. So that's where I started. And, there's lots of different, YouTube channels and books out there that you can read about starting your own lash line or your own makeup business or makeup brand. And it's, a billions and billions of dollar industry. Like, I think it's like, $100 billion industry for a reason. Because there's always people out there wanting to look their best and look different and feel better. So they're willing to, buy whatever it takes to help them achieve that goal. And it's very attainable. If you're thinking about doing it, I will never gatekeep, and I'm never going to be a hater. I want you to win more than I want myself to win, just because I'm a natural born cheerleader and I'm going to root you on. You have questions, shoot them to me. I'll let you know how I did it or what I've researched. But definitely get on the Google machine. Start looking around. What can I do for this, this, and that? I never want to discourage anybody from doing it. It just wasn't right for me at that time. And one day when I can get over there and get my hands on, or just see where everything's coming from and how it's sourced, for now it's just still on pause. But I loved every minute of it, though. I loved that creative process. I loved learning about everything. I loved getting my hands dirty and designing and testing out new lashes and, you know, getting those boxes with the yellow tape. I loved every part of it, but it just wasn't right at the time. So who knows? Who knows where the road will lead me? But I thought I'd just get on here and just, you know, let you guys know about my, that's why I said it in quotes, lash business, because I started it. And it wasn't like I just quit because I was bored. I absolutely still love everything about it. I just, in my heart, I need to make sure it's the right business way of that it's going about. I hope that makes sense. I know I rambled, but that's it. This is what it looks like. I have several different styles. Some were named after my granddaughter, some after my friends. But yeah. A lot of fun, and who knows, but until that day I will just continue to play with all the other things in makeup and have fun doing it. So I love y'all, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your week as always, and yeah, be kind to each other because it's crazy out there these days. But I love you.